This episode is brought to you by ServiceNow, the AI platform for business transformation. AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built into. Enter ServiceNow. It puts AI to work for people, for employees, for developers, and even your customers, removing frustration and supercharging productivity. On our intelligent platform, AI isn't just a promise. It's happening today. That's why the world works with ServiceNow. To learn more, visit servicenow.com/AI for people.
Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Hey everybody, before we get started, we have some stuff to tell you. Because we've reached the end of Season 1, we are now prepared to release Into the Wilderness, the complete collection of songs from Season 1, songs 1 through 12, and we're going to be releasing those digitally within a couple weeks' time, so definitely stay tuned on Twitter and Facebook where we'll be announcing everything as it is ready to be announced. And you can follow us on either of those platforms at BufferingCast.
Also, we are doing a limited run of physical CDs of the collection of 12 songs from Season 1. So we're going to put those up. They are up right now in our store. They're pre-orders. We expect to see those in the next couple of weeks and start sending them out. We want to let you know that when you go to the store, it's just bit.ly/shopbuffering, or you can go to bufferingthevampireslayer.com and click on shop. Those are pre-orders. They'll only be up until December 18th because that is when we have our live show in New York. And so we're going to bring the balance of the physical copies, the ones we have not sold on pre-order, to that show. So they may come back online after that, but they may not. It depends on how many we sell. So we just want to let you know, if you want a physical copy, go grab it now before the 18th of December.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome to Buffering the Vampire Slayer, a podcast where we're watching and discussing every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer one at a time. I am Jenny Owen Youngs.
And I'm Kristen Russo. And this week, we are discussing Season 1, Episode 12, the finale of Season 1, Prophecy Girl.
Ah! Stay tuned at the end of this episode and every episode for an original recap song written by us.
So you know what this episode is about if you did not do a rewatch or a first watch before listening to us. This is the episode where Giles discovers an ancient book foretelling Buffy's death at the hands of the Master. I kind of take issue with this summary description that I copied and pasted.
Because, did Giles find it?
And also, he doesn't discover it in this episode.
Huff and Puff.
Yeah, Huff and Puff. Writer of the IMDb summary.
Speaking of writers, this episode was written and directed by Joss Whedon. Hooray!
Yes, and how.
And it was originally aired on June 2nd, 1997. So,
wow.
There is a lot to say.
Yeah, there's so much to say. I feel so many feelings. I want to say that, I've enjoyed Season 1. As you know, if you are a listener of the show, this is my first time through Season 1, though I have seen seasons 2 through 7. And I because I know these characters, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed every episode that we've watched. But when I watched this episode, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how
much better it's going to get.
Yeah. I mean, I, of course, on some level, I didn't forget because here I am co-hosting a podcast about the show. I do know that it's wonderful, but I really forgot how much I will sob from now until the end of the series with just the power of the characters and the writing in this episode, the direction in this episode just. But like, it's just gorgeous and heart-wrenching, and we are going to get into all of that. Although my first note, and this is going to be after yours, so we can talk about whatever you'd like, Jenny, but my first pen to paper moment was Cordelia's parking job in the cemetery.
Yeah.
But before we get there, we obviously, like, we start in the bronze.
Where Xander, poor Willow. Xander is practicing how he's going to ask out Buffy on Willow, who is in love with Xander.
Yeah.
It's a deep burn.
It's a sad. And this, like, I mean, maybe we can just talk about this whole, like, little tinier arc in the episode, right? Because it's sort of like Xander really wants to tell Buffy that he has feelings for her. Willow has feelings for Xander. It's a whole love triangle thing. And I don't know. I feel like obviously this is a sad moment for Willow because she's just longing for Xander to be saying these words to her.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really sad. And then, but then we see later in the episode, Xander does, tell Buffy how he feels and asks her if she feels the same way. And she does not. So that's a big blow to Xander. Xander's really bummed out. I also kind of like just a shout out to how this moment was handled between two friends, because as somebody who gives advice for a living, I often get the question, I'm in love with my best friend. What do I do? And I feel like Buffy and Xander in this moment, like, do what most people do across the span of like 2 years in like 1 minute.
Yeah, they do a really great job. Until Xander gets unnecessarily mean.
Yeah,
I understand.
I don't know,
but it's like
it's like so. But Xander's also really self-aware in that moment, which is why I hesitate.
But maybe if he could have thought of a different thing to say other than, I guess a guy's got to be undead to make time with you.
I mean,
maybe if he had even just said something other than make time.
Fine, but you just don't like make time?
Yeah, I think that's my problem.
Okay. Because I feel like that's a common human thing. I mean, certainly we even do that to each other when we're having a, what do you call it? A marital dispute? There's a word
I've never even heard of one of those. That doesn't sound like a thing.
But like
Who have you been having marital disputes with? Certainly not me.
But you like instinctively go for the gut. I mean, that's just like what, I'm not saying it's right or correct or that I approve of such behavior, but it's like
but when you're wounded, you lash out.
When you're wounded, you lash out. And Xander, he lashes out, he says this shitty thing, and then he immediately, the next thing he says is, I'm sorry, I'm not good at dealing with rejection. So I feel like
very self-aware
moment. And then just to follow this arc through, right, Willow goes in to see Xander, little I almost said goose egg. A little
yeah, a little goose
egg
hidden in the grass. Please tell us about the goose egg.
A little Easter egg in the scene between Willow and Xander is that there's a poster hanging up in the classroom that says just say no, which is very funny because Buffy has said no, and then right after that, now Willow says no.
Also, I mean, gosh, all of the self-awareness in these teens is pretty impressive. Way to go, Willow. Not just taking that soft pitch, No,
and Willow is very Willow, they all have like very deep moments in this. Like they all have, Willow is very strong in this episode. I mean, that's one of the first examples of it, right? When she's like, you know what, Xander? I don't know what would have possibly made you think that I would want to go to the dance when the whole time you're going to want to be there with Buffy. Like, strong, powerful moment. Right before that happens, Cordelia, she runs into Cordelia in the hallway. Cordelia says, I love that outfit. And Willow, without missing a beat, says, no, you don't. Right?
And also, to her credit, Cordelia is like, You're right, I know, but I need a favor.
Yeah. It's a great moment because it's a strong moment for Willow, but it's also, Cordelia and Willow have a relationship now.
Yeah, we like to see them together. They're a great pairing.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, what if they accidentally kiss?
We'll get to the sexual tension. I don't think they had any in this particular episode, but I do want to talk about Cordelia. in the graveyard, because we cut from the bronze to, you know, they're like, wonder what Buffy's doing, the usual, and then
and it's just the most beautiful scene it's the most beautiful shooting we've seen in the show up to this point. This like slow motion fight scene.
Yes, it's and the slow motion fall, like the scene starts with her like falling,
and the close ups on their, you know, the vampires' eyes, and Buffy like smiling after she like pulls the stake out, and the vampire like recognizes it.
That
and then she
smile,
smiles. So small.
Like that alone, like Joss's direction, I would give many awards for that moment alone of like how this is framed with that fucking smile that she gives to that vamp. But we see right after she falls, we cut to a car. Someone has gone parking. Is that what?
Cordelia next in the graveyard. Cordelia goes to the cemetery to make time.
To make time.
See how gross it is?
Yeah, well, I didn't think that we were saying make time like make out. But okay. But we are now. But my real laugh in this moment is that, you know, we've had a lot of discussions about Cordelia's driving, and we'll have more before this episode is over. But I love that she's just like in between the gravestones. Like she's not like parked on the side of the road in the graveyard.
Oh my
she's
God.
Parked on the grass. So I liked that a lot. And then back to just this like gorgeous fight scene, because it cuts from this amazing fight scene to this beautiful over the library shot. Which
this is the first bird's eye view we've seen of the library.
Yeah, through the glass, which is like really, really awesome. And we see Giles.
He's been studying.
Yeah, and he's just translating this piece of the codex. What did I say I was going to call it? The Pegasus Codex?
Yes.
Yeah, he's translating a piece of the Pegasus Codex. And we don't learn in this moment what it says, but we do learn that it is
very disturbing.
Real
to
fucked
Giles.
up. Yeah.
Giles is like, that doesn't look like anything to me.
Yeah. That's Jenny's Westworld reference.
It's my new favorite joke. Whenever anything is really disturbing and you are looking at it, you must say, that doesn't look like anything to me.
So Giles.
Shout out to Molly Green, who made that joke first.
Who is Jenny's friend.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, who? So, and then the earthquake happens.
It does. And it made me remember that we live in Southern California now. But we haven't felt any earthquakes.
Oh, why do you have to?
What?
No, you know what? Here's the thing. 2 nights ago, it was really fucking windy. It was really windy, and we were in bed trying to go to sleep, and we couldn't fall asleep because it sounded like ghosts and goblins.
It was so loud.
Banging around outside. And Jenny turns to me in bed and says, well, at least we know it's just the wind.
It's like, just like if I'm gonna get murdered by something that's supernatural or like a serial killer or something, I want to have a Craven-worthy last words.
So this is right in line with that. Hey, we haven't felt an earthquake yet. Thanks a lot, Jenny.
Yeah, sorry I said that. But I have a question related to this scene.
Yeah.
There is a beautiful piece of art hanging over Giles's desk.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
And it is a lake at night, or a pond at night, and the moon is out and it's reflected in the water, and it's very beautiful, I think, from what I could tell.
Right.
And I was just wondering if any of you nerds, I know one of you must know what that piece of art is.
Oh, let us know.
Help me out.
Yeah.
Shoot us an email at bufferingthevampireslayer@gmail.com. I'm desperate to know what it is.
Speaking of nerds, I do have one more thing I want to talk about with the earthquake, but in our first one of our first moments post credits, we get a great line from Willow. It's the computer age. Nerds are in.
Yeah, she's
pretty solid.
But then immediately they're still in.
Right? Yeah, I'm still cool, right? But also, just back to the earthquake for a hot second. While the earthquake is happening, first of all, we cannot miss the fact that there is this organ music playing as we like pan down to
my God.
the master, who's like, it's like the most
June.
It's so silly, and then like
that music cue is out to lunch.
It is, and he kind of laughs at himself. Like he almost has like a self-aware moment in this. I wish I knew more. Like I get real worked up about when we talk about like Wes Craven and horror and stuff like this, but I don't know a lot about like old vampire movies. But I feel, so I might be wrong, but the little bit that I know, the little bit I've seen, I feel like there were like references to that. There were these moments, like this moment with the organ and like just these kind of like over the top moments that made me feel like they were very intentional and they were like hearkening back to something else.
Right.
I don't know. So again, let us know if Kristen is very wrong with her like headline reading of an old vampire film. And also the master then says, do you think it was a 5.1?
Oh my God.
And let me tell you what, I don't...
Yeah, just the anointed one with the miniature drum kit in the corner.
I just feel like I don't know a lot about earthquakes, but I think that if the floor of the library cracks in half, it's probably bigger than a 5.1. Just my 2 cents.
Well, but like, do you think any buildings that aren't located directly on top of the hellmouth experience that level of damage?
Oh, that's true. Okay,
that might be playing into
true.
it.
You're right. Okay.
So when Buffy comes into the library the next morning, her first comment is, "The damage looks fairly structural."
Yeah.
What a weird thing to say. That's all.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. You know, this is one of many moments in this episode where we're seeing the mundane, if you will, experience of like being at school and doing the things we're supposed to do in our life, like making sure you run those errands set right next to this apocalyptic situation. And that is shown here in the fact that Giles knows what's up now. Giles has read the prophecy that Buffy's going to fight the master and that she's going to die. And Buffy has just been having a blast, killing vamps all night, is on her way to biology and is like, what's your deal, man? Something that we talked about the Xander arc and you know, Buffy and feelings and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go too much more into that, but I do want to say that I appreciated Xander's line, because Xander's approach to this moment where he tells Buffy about his feelings for her is very, I really want to work to give Xander credit where credit is due. Because and Joss credit.
He says, I want to dance with you.
Yes, he says,
he says, I want to dance with you.
He says, I want to dance with you.
It's very sweet.
It is very sweet. And, you know, and Joss wrote this and Joss directed it. So I do feel that is sort of a reflection of some of the feminist Joss that we know. To
also,
put that in as the line.
I just want to say, while Xander's like working on it and he's like huffing and puffing and like drumming on his bag, well, that's just like what I do.
Yeah, that is
when I need to get
when you're nervous
to a point. So I appreciated that.
So, you know, then Buffy leaves, goes to biology, etc. But Giles is left in, Jenny, yes. Jenny has wide eyes.
Well, Giles is left with
oh, you're going to take my moment from me? We have the same note?
Well, let's find out. You go first since you did the transition, please.
Well, so Giles is left in the office. Now, at the same time, let's say our notes, okay? I'm going to count down from 3. 3, 2, 1.
How did he get Angel's number?
Yes, the phone number. How did he get the phone number?
How
did...
You know late night meetings.
You know what? Because last week we talked about sexual tension, and it seems like there was a bit of a number exchange.
Yeah, there probably must have definitely been a total number exchange.
Yeah. Seems they made time for each other.
Also, he's so flustered on the phone. Not just because of the prophecy, I think.
You didn't even hear my joke.
What did you say?
I said it seems they made time for each other.
Thanks. That felt
So somehow first of all, somehow they have each other's phone numbers, and also Angel has a phone, which I'm curious about how that works. Like, is there identity theft for vampires when they need, like, you know, to pay bills?
Utilities?
Yeah, like he can't just be like Angelus like on his...
Yeah, he probably just has a fake
name?
Yeah, and a fake social. I don't know.
I mean, I guess he's been around long enough to know the system. He was around when they invented social security numbers, so he probably just
right
figured it out. And then, of course, Who's in the doorway?
Miss Calendar.
That is exactly what I wrote.
That's exactly what I wrote too.
Wow.
Hello, Miss Calendar.
I wrote, hello, Jenny Calendar.
Well, she's been surfing the net.
she has.
She has been surfing the net, and she has a lot to report. A snake, or a cat. A cat has given birth to a litter of snakes.
Yep, and there's a lake that's boiling.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And a child was born with their eyes facing
inward. That's a rough one.
Gross.
Also, she ends this like list of things that has happened with, I would say the end is pretty seriously nigh.
Yeah.
Which is a very...
And then she like rides her skateboard off.
It was very, like, she sounded like Buffy in the movie Buffy the Vampire. Like, this Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie line and delivery. I would say the end is pretty seriously nigh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you would, Jenny Calendar.
Yeah. She's still hot.
Yep, still looking great.
Still a practicing techno-pagan, getting a lot of information from monks across the world.
Yeah. What is this guy's name? Luca? That's sending out, what does she call them? Global messages.
Yes. Global messages.
Global messages. I mean.
Is that like an email?
Yeah. Yes. It's a message that you can send globally all at once.
Bother.
So after this scene where, you know, we later learn that who Giles has called his angel to come please meet him. They have to talk and hang out and exchange numbers. We cut to this scene that is, again, like this really spooky, dark scene. Buffy is like getting her steak out of her locker.
As you do.
Sun has gone down. She goes, you really think, I mean, I thought, even you thought, having seen this episode before, we were like, this is a dream, right? It has a very dreamlike quality to it.
Yeah.
Especially when she then turns the faucet on and there's just blood pouring out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we cut to or she goes to the library to be like, Giles, you're not going to believe the fucking sink is coming out blood. And instead, of course, she comes upon Angel and Giles. Well, she comes upon Angel, which is...
Yeah. And she's like...
She says Angel,
yeah,
right?
She's so pumped because she hasn't seen him since she burned a cross shape into his chest while they were kissing at the end of season 1, episode 7, Angel.
Wow, Jenny. With the references over
Not
there.
that I've been paying attention.
But this scene, I have it blocked because there's a commercial break in between this scene, right? What happens is we hear Giles say to Angel, and she will die. He reads the end of the prophecy from this codex. And then, had you been watching in 1997, you were like, what the fuck? And it cuts to commercial break, and you have to watch Glad, or what is it? Hefty. Oh my God, I just inserted the wrong brand into the song. Really sorry, good. Hefty. Oh no, maybe it is for Glad. Glad trash bags. What is the brand? Is it Hefty?
I thought it was Hefty.
No, because it's Hefty, Wimpy.
Yeah, Hefty is the brand, and then everything else is Wimpy.
Okay.
I'm glad we're having this talk.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta know. When you gotta know, you gotta know. Anyhow, you had to watch all these fucking stupid ass commercials. No offense, commercials, but like, and we come back, and the balance of this scene is
devastating.
I mean, the balance of this scene is why we're doing this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like, it is like the heart of this show. This is, I mean, we see her go through everything. And that's something that I noticed a lot in this episode is that he fits in, like Joss fits in so much shit in the tiniest amounts of time in a very believable and powerful way. Like several times I was like, I can't believe that we're still only halfway through this. Like, we've learned so much already. We've felt so much already. And this scene is an example of that. We come right back on her laughing, which is like, to me, was like a gutting first response. And a very, like, I believed it 1,000,000%. Like, she has just found out something that she doesn't know how to deal with. And she is, like, laughing in this horribly sad, upsetting way. And then she goes through, right? Like, I got chills just from the laugh. And then she says things like, does it say how I'm going to die? Will it hurt? Who will she be, this next Slayer? Will you train her? Don't touch me, she says to Angel. And then eventually gets herself to, I quit. I'm not doing this. I quit. She rips her necklace off, the necklace that Angel has given her. And she has this line where she just looks at Giles and says, Giles, I'm 16 years old. I don't want to die. And it's like, that all happened in like 35 fucking seconds. It has gotten so real. You know, and Jenny and I usually write the song after we record the podcast, but we have already written the song, and this idea was like the central piece of the song that we wrote. You know, or this journey that Buffy goes on that starts right now, where she's like, wait, what? It's like she's been in danger. She's faced death. She's been afraid. But this is so much more real than anything has ever been. And it's devastating.
Yeah. It's a common thing to think about, like, when people say, like, when you're young, you, like, think you're invincible, right? And for Buffy, it's exponentially exaggerated because she has super strength and really fast healing abilities and all of this, you know, sort of mystical power that she's imbued with. And now she's just heard, after she's faced death a bajillion times, like, she literally fights dead people every day.
Right.
And she just heard for the first time, like, the possibility that she might actually die in the very near future.
And she like, the way that she talks about it, like, because really one of the first responses is this, like, who's she going to be? Who's this next person going to be? It's like, for the first time, she says, I know how this works. I remember how this works, right? I know I die and then the next one comes right on in. And it's like she's realizing for the first time and feeling like, I'm just disposable. Like, all this work I'm doing, all this fight that I've given, and this is where it ends for me. And then somebody else just comes and picks up the stake, and onward they go. Yeah, it's just a beautiful scene, and it's devastating from all angles. You know, I mean, talk about a trio of people to be like facing this truth for the first time. It's like Giles, who we've seen standing at her grave in the last, or in Nightmares, right?
Yeah.
Where, you know, we had that horrible, heart-wrenching scene where he was like, this is my nightmare. I didn't protect her. So we know what he's feeling. And then we have Angel, who we know, you know, is in love with Buffy. And it's just so sad. And then, of course, we go to Buffy, who is, like, looking through photos.
Wow. For those of you who don't know, can't even fathom why there's a book full of photographs in somebody's home, let me just explain really quickly that a long, long time ago.
Long time ago.
We didn't used to have phones that took pictures and computers to back them up. We would take pictures with cameras, and then we would, like, take the film to a film developing place, and then we would wait multiple days for the pictures to be developed. Then we would pick them up, and then we would paste them into a book like that, and then later, when we find out we're about to die via prophecy, we nostalgically flip through and relive our past joys.
Yes, so this is an accurate, authentic scene. Also, we would usually get photos printed in doubles, just in case.
Well, it's to share with your friends.
Yeah, I would always get doubles just because, like, I wanted to, like, fuck around with one set and then have the other set for safekeeping.
Wow.
I always got doubles.
What kind of photo manipulation were you doing in high school?
No, not like fuck around in a manipulatory way.
No, like in a
were you like manipulatory?
Yeah, that was really something. Were you like drawing on them, or making cards out of them?
Like pasting them in books sometime, or, you know, like making photo books like Buffy has, or giving them to friends, or like cutting them out and making collage type things.
Right.
You know, what you do with physical photos. But anyhow,
Joyce comes in.
Joyce has this great line. You're probably full from that bite of dinner you nearly had. Pretty good. And again, just this one sentence lets us know that, like, I mean, we already know that Buffy is distraught, but, you know, this is one quick sentence that kind of, like, inserts that into this scene.
Now, Buffy has a great idea where she's like, let's just get out of town.
I know.
Let me avoid this prophecy. Mom, safest person, safest place on the planet to me, historically and now and always. Take me away and protect me and get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And Joyce is like, oh, honey, you know the gallery is open on weekends. Let me just say something really quick.
Yes, Jenny.
We haven't seen this gallery, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but we're never going to see the gallery. So I have a theory I'd like to put on the table. What if, running parallel
oh, brother,
to the regular Vampire Slayer lineage vibe, there's also an adult Vampire Slayer league, and Joyce...
Vampire League, by the way.
Yeah, is actually out slaying... Wouldn't this be a cool crossover potential thing for, like, down the line? They, like, run into each other in the graveyard where they, like, think... Buffy thinks her mom's at the gallery, and Joyce thinks Buffy is, like, at a study date with Willow, and they, like, bump into each other in the cemetery, and they both have stakes out, and they both try to hide them behind their back. Doesn't this sound so fun?
Great. Yeah, no, it's good, Jenny. Run with it. I think you have a moneymaker on your hands.
Yeah. If I wrote fan fiction, I feel like I would be off to the races.
Yeah, it's like Freaky Friday meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes.
But I do believe that Joyce actually just works at an art gallery. Maybe. Okay, fine, maybe. But right, and she of course doesn't know what's at stake here. Where's the anointed one to give me my drum fill? So yeah, but then she has purchased this dress for Buffy that she saw Buffy eyeing, which is I was gonna just go down it's this really beautiful moment path, but I do want to just say it is a weird thing to give somebody a dress to a dance that's the next day. It's like, you know what I mean? The timing of it seems weird. It seems like you would if you wanted to give a person a dress for a dance, you would find out if they were going.
Yeah.
You would
work with a little more lead time.
Yeah.
Joyce is an impulsive lady, though. She just rides the wind wherever it takes her.
That's true. So this is when Buffy sees this dress, and of course they have this exchange and it's this really sweet exchange between them too, which I feel like is coming from the fact that Buffy knows, right? You're going to interact with your loved ones very differently.
If you know you're going to die.
And so, Joyce is telling her this story about how she went to the prom by herself, and Buffy says, like, well, was it horrible? And Joyce is like, yeah, it was horrible for the first hour, and then I met your dad. And like they have this like very open, beautiful exchange, which we haven't really seen that many of these, if any, between Joyce and Buffy, because Buffy's 16.
Right.
And then of course we go right to the school where Cordelia is like, my boyfriend is so cute. I don't even care that he didn't set up the equipment. Willow, isn't love so crazy? And they do have this really great moment where Cordelia's like, man, am I right? And Willow's like, sure. It's really nice. It's really nice for a lot of reasons.
Willow's like affirming, like, back up, I'm backing you up nod.
Yeah.
Is so good.
Right? But then we go right from our laughter into another one of these scenes that is like just no joke, no pun intended, but like very gutting. This scene is just like,
yeah,
she opens the door, Cordelia opens the door, and what's this guy's name? It's not Mitch.
Kevin.
It's Kevin. We moved on from Mitch to Kevin since the last episode. And this scene is dark.
Whew, it's rough.
It's really dark. I mean, there are, 6, 7 kids
a bunch of kids in there.
All who have been killed by vamps. And
the thing that really, like, I feel like hits at home is the bloody handprint on the TV screen while Porky Pig is dancing with Porky Pig. Mm-hmm. It's rough.
Yeah, it's
a difficult juxtaposition.
It's pretty dark. And one of the little factoids that we stumbled upon actually had this note that Allison Hannigan had said they had filmed the scene in 2 different ways. Yeah,
a bloodier version for European audiences.
Who can apparently stomach more gore than Americans. But I'll tell you what, you didn't even need more gore than just that handprint on the television for it to be really disturbing.
Yeah, it was icy.
And it's quiet, and Willow you can see that she's in shock. And then we go to back to Joyce and Buffy, and Joyce has sort of run up the stairs. Do we even know that it's upstairs? I know it from watching other episodes, but do we know Buffy's bedroom is upstairs?
No, I don't think
we learned that. Oops,
no.
Spoiler.
Spoiler for Buffy's house floor plan.
But yeah, so Joyce says like something's on the news, Willow.
No, we have seen them go upstairs because remember when Angel allegedly left.
Yes,
but
of course.
Then,
and Angel has to get down out of the second story window. Oh,
Sorry
thank
about that.
goodness I didn't spoil.
Heavens.
You would have been all so mad at me. But yeah, so and then I presume that Buffy has gone over to Willow's house.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
Because and then Willow is sitting in bed and is really like
she's in shell shock.
She's in shock. And she's saying like, she says to Buffy, "I'm not okay," because Buffy's like, "Well, at least you're okay." And Willow says, "I'm not okay." And this is when she has this moment and she says, "You don't like, I'm trying to find the words to explain this to you. The only thing I can think to say is that it wasn't our world anymore. They made it theirs." Right. And then later in this moment, she asks Buffy, "What are we going to do?" And Buffy says, "What we have to." And this is like a moment.
The pivot point.
It's a big pivot point for Buffy where she's gone from the moment in the library where she's so scared that she quits and she says, "Fuck this. I'm not dying. I signed up for a bunch and I'll do a bunch, but like once you say that I'm going to die, like this is some real stuff. I don't want to die." But then in this moment with Willow, whether it's, I think it's a combination of all the things, right? It's like, on the one hand, this is her friend, her dear friend, who is like devastated and has seen something horrible. Willow is communicating, though, this bigger message of they're taking our world. Like, they can't have our world. I don't want them to have our world. I think that this is just a big moment. It is the moment when she like spins on her literal heels and is like, "Fuck this. I'm fighting."
Yeah. It's almost as if some theme music should be inserted.
No, it's not yet.
Yeah, I know it's not yet, but it's almost as if.
Jennifer.
We're just ramping up to that moment.
Oh, boy. Oh, I know what happens here.
What happens here?
I have a lot to say about this, actually. Right as Buffy is leaving Willow's room, Willow says, "I like your dress." I love this because Willow says it, then the Master says it, and then Angel tries to say it.
And she's like, I've heard it
with the dress. But this is what's so fucking great about this line that keeps coming up where people are telling her that they like her dress. And the whole prom dress, right? We hear this line and this is like, stereotypical prom banter, right? You go to the prom because you want to get a beautiful prom dress, because you want everybody to tell you that they love your prom dress. I'm not telling you that this is how you feel, listener, nor was it how I felt, but this is like this is a prom trope.
Right.
You get the dress and you want to hear this. You want to hear that everybody thinks you look so beautiful. It's this time when everybody gets all dressed up. It's like really the first, the reason that like prom is made into such a big deal. It's like really like the first time that you're getting all dressed up with your friends and it feels very adult and all this stuff. And the fact that this whole episode is about Buffy trying to save the world from ending, and yet still the players in that are still telling her that they like her dress. It's just like, it's just this beautiful dichotomy of what the prom would be if you were not Buffy the Vampire Slayer and what the prom is when you are. And everything.
Then the one sliver of overlap is, I like your dress.
Yes. And the Venn diagram of normal person prom and Buffy prom in where they meet, it just says, I like your dress. So I loved that. And
God.
We should, speaking of dresses.
Yes.
I think it's just about time that we go over to our dear, dear friend, Kate Leth, with Buffy Fashion Watch.
Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. And if you have sensitive skin, you're going to want to hear about their scientifically proven topical supplements. Free from over 1,500 chemicals and preservatives that can make skin red, irritated, or itchy, their products are safe for sensitive skin. It's just one of the reasons they've earned the Skin Safe seal of approval.
They've also earned the Jenny Owen Youngs and Kristen Russo seal of approval, if I do say so myself, Jenny.
I couldn't agree more. I've been using OneSkin for a few months, and after a few weeks, I remember it like it was yesterday. I texted Kristen and I was like, maybe she's born with it. I looked in the mirror that morning and was like, oh, things are happening, and I am happy.
I have used 1,000,000,000,000 skin products, and I did not think that I was going to switch off of the skin like lotion, the moisturizer that I used and the under eye cream that I use, because I have used them for a little while and I really like them. And I've switched completely, which is a pretty big deal. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code BUFFERING at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code BUFFERING. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and if you can, please tell them that we sent you.
As a podcast network, our focus is bringing you shows you love to listen to. But we also sell merch related to those shows. And partnering with Shopify has made that both possible and simple for us to do. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor adventures, Shopify helps you sell everywhere because they've got you covered, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. What's so fantastic about Shopify is how, no matter how big you want to grow, they provide everything you need to get control of your business so you can take it to the next level. Businesses that grow, grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
It's time for our friend Kate to give you the Buffy fashion update.
Welcome back, one and all, to the finale of what is arguably the best and worst season for Buffy fashion. Personally, I love it. The mini dresses, silver eyeshadow and taupe lipstick, leopard print, chunky heels, blowout, straightened hair, colored tights, sneakers, plastic rings, Willow's pigtails, Giles' clashing ties and shirts, Jenny Callender's 1970s techno-pagan wardrobe, the endless supply of leather. But all good things must come to an end, and here they finally do. Few people wear anything stand out in this episode, actually, I think to draw attention towards just how fabulous Buffy's dress is, and it is. I went digging to try and find where it came from, as so many people have tried to replicate it through cosplay and various other means over the years, and it turns out it was made by Season 1's costume designer, Susanna Puisto, I'm pretty sure, to whom I owe this entire segment when I really think about it. So thank you 1,000 times. Thank you, Susanna. So yeah, it's one of a kind. Fun fact, in upcoming seasons, Buffy wears Vera Wang, not once, but twice. Anyway, this dress, it's iconic for so many reasons. It's almost sacrificial, like virginal in its purity. The empire waist, the silk, the rhinestones, that layered sheer skirt that's so soft and delicate. It works so hard to make Buffy look innocent. And you pair it with her leather jacket and the metal cross that she wears when she goes after the Master, and you have one of her most iconic looks of the entire series. Susanna and the writers are telling us here, like, without saying anything, that they're here to subvert a trope. And it might feel a little obvious, but I'm a sucker for it. Her innocence here is her fear of death and her fear of her own prophecy. But her jacket and the cross on top of this, like, beautiful soft white dress tell us, she's ready to fight. She's capable. I mean, she's the Slayer. And, like, at the same time, it's this very literal way of saying that she's hard on the outside, but, she can still be hurt. And, like, I have a lot of feelings. So that's it for me for season 1. We have so many outfits and new characters and new outfits to look forward to in season 2. But until then, I'll see you at the mall.
That was our friend Kate. She gave you the Buffy fashion update. What a way to finish up season 1 of Buffy Fashion Watch. Thank you, Kate.
Oh, thank you, Kate. What a beautiful fashion watch it was, where fashion meets feeling. You know what I mean? So speaking of feelings, we're back in the library.
Giles has taken Buffy's cutting words said in anger to heart and has decided that he is going to face the master and Buffy will stay out of it.
Yeah, which is also heartbreaking. I wrote the word sob a lot of times in this episode.
Yeah.
Because that moment when she says to him, like, what do you do with your books? She throws the fucking book up against the wall. That scene. But then this scene starts with Jenny Calendar so proud. Like, I've dutifully looked up Isaiah 11:6 and Giles comes strolling out of the cage, like reciting, the wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them. And Jenny Calendar's like, oh, snap. By the way, I didn't memorize that. I did write it down. But we hear this. This is the last thing that this Luca character who has gone missing has sent via global message. And this is the moment when Giles realizes through this piece of text that the Anointed One is a child.
Is not dead as they had.
Is not dead, right? Because that was what was that character's name?
Oh gosh, what was it? Military Man.
Military Man. It was, yeah. We thought Military. Well, they thought Military Man was the Anointed, but we knew the whole time that tiny child was the Anointed One. So they learned that here, and of course we later learn that Buffy is the Lamb.
Right.
In this description, but we'll get there.
Because first Buffy has to come in and be like, listen, Dad, I'm not going to let you face the master. That's bananas.
Yeah.
I'm going to face the master. And Giles is like, I can't let you do that. And Buffy's like,
Giles says, I defy prophecy and I am going.
Oh, Giles.
Okay, I know you're getting all hammy over there.
How dare you?
But, like, the lines.
Yeah, no, it's intense.
It's intense. It's for real. I defy prophecy.
And then, of course, Buffy is like, I thought you might say that. And then she, like, turns her head to pull back to punch him hard enough to knock him out. But she also, like, I think kind of, like, can't look at his face before she does it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And then
but wait.
Okay.
But wait, because Giles goes down here. And one of our lovely listeners said to us,
oh, yeah.
Hey, guys, not a spoiler, really, but, like, maybe you could talk about the fact that it kind of becomes a thing, a funny thing, of how many times Giles gets knocked out. And maybe, since we're watching episode by episode, we can keep track of how many times Giles gets knocked out. And so we've had how many times now so far?
I think this is the third, but feel free to correct
we can
on the fly if need be. We saw him get knocked out in Witch.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him get knocked out in The Pack.
Mm-hmm.
And we just saw him get knocked out in Prophecy
So
Girl.
that's 3.
He's had at least 3 knockings out.
So now we're going to keep count moving forward, how many times Giles bites the dust.
Yeah. So a couple things that I want to talk about before we leave the library here. Giles goes down and Jenny Calendar runs to his aid to cradle his head. And I want to just alert you that the sound design of her clopping over to Giles, like whatever kind of chunky heel she's wearing, is really good. You should go back and listen to it. It will delight you.
Clop, clop, clop. Even when she kneels, there's a tiny clop.
Yeah, and then the second thing about this scene that I want to mention before we move on is that 2 things in this episode don't work for me.
Okay.
And the first one is this. Mm-hmm. That Buffy says when he wakes up, tell him... think of something cool and tell him I said it. That just seems so out of the realm of anything that she would say. Maybe I'm, like, getting too serious. Maybe she's a teenager and that's, like, a thing. But, like, it just seems like she just knocked Giles out to save him from getting himself killed in order to try to save her.
But Buffy does not have words through this whole episode. Like, that is a thing. I mean, the last thing she says to Willow, the last time she's going to see Willow, she, like, leaves and she says, like,
take care.
Take care. Like, you know, isn't that the whole thing, right? That Buffy always has these, like, quips. She always has words, and she doesn't have words.
Yeah.
I think it's intentional.
Oh, look at you.
Hey, here I am to answer your question.
Retract. There's only one thing in this episode that doesn't work for me.
Okay, what is that?
We're not there yet.
Oh, okay, great.
First, the Anointed One has to pick Buffy up, and she's all like, yo, I know who you are. Also, Buffy, prom dress, leather jacket, crossbow. Crossbow. So impractical.
Oh, but it looks so hot.
I will say it every time. It's so impractical.
I don't care. Nobody cares.
I
A crossbow
care.
with
I
a
am
prom
a
dress and a
person.
leather jacket. Don't take it away from us, Jenny. Don't take it away.
No, I mean, I like to look at it. It's just like if you were about to fight the guy who is prophesied to kill you.
Maybe
Wouldn't
she feels
you want to arm yourself most effectively?
maybe she feels it's effective. You don't know. You don't know her. You don't live her life. You're not the Slayer. So the Anointed One is like, I'm a kid. I need help. And she's like, shut up, kid. I know who you are. Just fucking take me downstairs in your tiny little hoodie. Jesus.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to the library to Willow being like, why does she get to be in the club?
Yeah, indicating that now Miss Calendar is in the club.
Is in the club, right. And Willow's like, I don't understand how this happened, but whatever.
We hear your favorite music cue again while Buffy's walking through the tunnels with the Anointed.
What's my what?
Just after this, that creepy horror music that is under the Master at the beginning of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
We hear it again as she's navigating the tunnels.
There's a lot of really cool scoring, I think, in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then Xander says, "F this noise. I know where to go. I'm going to Angel's house." Which now,
how does Xander know where Angel lives?
Giles has his phone number. Xander knows where he lives. Like, what's going on here?
Are they all playing poker?
Right?
Maybe.
And here's where, Jenny, here is where my sexual tension award comes in. Now, for me, it was a toss-up, but not really a toss-up. But the other contender for the sexual tension award, unfortunately for all of us, was the Master and Buffy. Nobody wants them to win that. Nobody wants to even have seen what we had to see.
No.
And so I give it wholeheartedly to Xander and Angel.
Wow.
For both this scene where they're in Angel's apartment, and, you know, he's like, are you in love with her? And he's like, aren't you? Like,
and then they kiss.
And then the next scene with the two of them when they go into, you know, they're going to find the Master.
Oh, yeah.
Xander's like, you were looking at my neck. I felt you looking at my neck. I told you to eat before we left. I love it.
Yeah, it's really good.
I love it. They're very cute boyfriends. Very, very cute. I love that. Give me some Xander Angel fanfic. So sexual tension award, unless you have
No, that's definitely it.
Okay, great. Then the Master and Buffy, which is this other really
such a bummer.
And the Master is like hiding from her, and he has this line like, I want this moment to last.
Blech.
That's really super creepy and super terrifying. And then he tells her, this is like awful. She has followed what she thought she was supposed to follow to fight him, and he tells her as he's about to kill her, you're the one who sets me free. If you hadn't come, I couldn't go. Think about that.
Ugh.
It's like, you know?
Prophecy plot twist.
And he's so, I mean, the Master, yeah, everybody knows how I feel about the Master. I never want to look at him, but he really his character has a lot of depth in this episode, more depth than I think we've seen. His lines are really powerful. And his like force is powerful, which I mean, probably because he's breaking the bubble finally.
Right.
That wibble wobble. The wibble wobble bubble is about to go. And then again, if we were in 1997, you see him bite Buffy, drop her, which again, beautiful, right? He doesn't bite her and throw her into the water. He bites her and drops her, and you hear her fall onto her knees, and then and then it pans out, and you see her from her knees go forward into the water. It's like, this is fucking what directing is, people. You know what I mean? That's beautiful. It's beautiful and heartbreaking. And then we cut to commercial. Hefty, wimpy. You're like, what is happening? Is she alive? Is she dead? We come back from the commercial.
Right.
And then Angel and Xander know that he's out. And so they run into the lair and they see her there. And Angel like scoops her up out of the water. Yes, Jenny.
And Angel is panting because he was just running. He's panting up a storm and he's all stressed out. And then he says, we need to give her CPR. You need to do it, Xander, because I have no breath. Ignore all the panting I just did.
Is that
Just saying.
Is that the other part that you? Is it the other
No,
hole
that's
for you?
not. That's not the hole for me.
Okay, well,
that's just a little treat.
But getting serious in this moment, though, this is like a really cool thing because it highlights the different strengths of these characters, of these people. Angel is this very strong ancient vampire who can fight and kill, has all this power. And yet,
if Xander wasn't with him,
and Xander is the only reason that he even went, Xander's the only reason that he's down there in the first place.
And that's curious.
Yes, because usually Angel is up on the up and up and knows what's going on. But Xander has been the one to tell him, we need to go and don't fuck around. I have my crucifix, man. Then they kiss. And then they go down into the lair and Angel cannot save her. Only between the two of them, only Xander can because Xander doesn't have strength and he doesn't have even like super duper brains, but he has breath. He has oxygen in his lungs and he can breathe life back into Buffy.
And this sort of like I think kind of sets the tone really for what Xander has to offer throughout the series. He's sort of like, a lot of people refer to him as kind of like the beating heart of the operation, and a beating heart pushes blood through your veins and allows all of your major organs to function, including your lungs.
So CPR happens. Buffy's eyes pop open in this weird.
Oh my god, her eyes open. The camera zooms out just a tiny bit, really fast.
Yeah,
and there's this like wind chime.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
And then she coughs. But yeah, maybe that's what it's like to come back to life. We don't know.
There's a wind chime?
Yeah, there's a wind chime. You haven't heard about the prophesized wind chime? But oh my god, like I know that Buffy is back alive and we're all really happy about it, but you want to know what I'm more happy about?
I know what you're more happy about.
Oh man, this is the moment we've all been waiting for.
More Cordelia behind the wheel.
Oh my god, this scene is so good. They come out and the vampires are like acting like zombies. They're really being weird, the vamps. I don't know why they're walking so slowly, but it's creepy. And Jenny Calendar and Willow are like, oh my god, what's going to happen? There's all these vampires. How will we ever get away? And then the screeching of rubber on cement is heard. And Cordelia is like, yo. I saw these things. I don't know what to do. Get in. And they're like, what do we do now? There's this amazing moment where there's a vamp on the hood and the three of them are screaming.
Yeah.
They're like, what do we do? And Willow is like, we need to get back to the fucking library. And Cordelia is like, say no more. Say no more.
She actually through the double doors.
Yeah, right. She says, library, great. And she busts through 2 sets of double doors, I believe. Just knocks down everything at Sunnydale High School, gets them to the library. They go in. Just a short moment after they're in the library, I'm giving this all to Cordy because you know how this rant of mine is going to end. She's standing by the door. The vamp reaches in, grabs her by the shoulder, and she fucking bites him. She bites his arm, and then she says, see how you like it. She bites the vampire and she says, see how you like it, all while wearing stretchy purple spandex pants. Cordelia, I love you. Please play the song.
Cordelia, I love you, Cordelia. You're perfect, Cordelia. So,
if you want to fucking hear that song all the time, you just go to iTunes on your phone and you look it up by Cordelia. And then you can play it all the time to keep your spirits up. Oh, God, I love her. Okay. Anyhow.
So, because it's almost Christmas, this is a note I took. Up on the rooftop, click, click, click. The Vampire Master is such a dick.
That's very nice, Jenny.
I thought you might like that.
Wow. So special.
I'll look for those divorce papers in the mail. But he's at the school. He's up at that bird's eye view vantage point looking down upon the library where he knows that his favorite pet is about to bust forth.
Oh my God, his favorite pet. But before we get there, I want to talk about, well, I don't know actually what the order is anymore, but when Buffy comes back to life after the wind chime and after her coughing, they're like, whoa, like, you know, you just died, so maybe take a minute before. And she says, I feel strong, I feel different.
Let's go.
And this is, somebody tweeted, I had tweeted out, you know, when we did the first watch, I had tweeted like, I just watched Prophecy Girl for the first time and oh my God, it's incredible. And somebody named Chantal Co on Twitter replied, this is when Buffy becomes Buffy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was the most beautiful, like, capturing of what we see in this episode. And this moment, right? She's like, oh yeah, I'm fucking back. And now I know what's at fucking stake and this shit is over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is so aware. She's so strong. She does not give any fucks. And she also has lived through really her worst fear, right? She's on the other side
right.
of this fear. And so how, Jenny, if you were directing this episode, how do you think you would, I don't know, get this mood across that Buffy is just ready to fight?
Well, first I'd have Cordelia, you know, holding the library door closed.
Yes.
But unfortunately, the library door has like a little porthole window.
Yes.
And a vampire is reaching through it.
Mm-hmm.
And the vampire grabs Cordelia through the door.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, somebody help! And then it would cut to an amazing scene where the theme music is playing and Buffy is walking in her fancy shoes and we're looking at her shoes and then it pans up slowly the length of her entire body and Xander and Angel are like have fallen in behind her and it's like Okay, so this is the moment that really lands with a clang for me. I get why it's I get what's happening, but it's just like a little bit. There's just something that's just not quite.
It's bizarre to hear the theme song in the show itself, or at least like this version of it. But I'm into it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm stoked about what's happening.
And then my next note is 3-headed demon, LOL. That's my whole note.
Were there only 3 heads on that thing?
Yeah, I think there were 3.
And did you say that there was a human being inside each one of those heads?
Each one. There's a human being inside each tentacle.
Not in the show, but like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's being operated by...
Right. Yes. The
individual people.
Individual people are operating that 3-headed demon, the hellmouth demon, the pet of the master, as Jenny put it. And then, Buffy gets up to the roof, clickety-clack. And the master is so surprised.
He's like, you're dead.
You're dead. How are you here? And this was very funny. Another note that we read when we were doing our little like research of the episode, somebody had just randomly said like, well, if you think about it, the master might be surprised for several reasons. 1, because he thought Buffy was dead, but 2, because he's been trapped in a wibble wobble bubble. They didn't say wibble wobble bubble, but he's been trapped down in his lair for many years, and CPR was only invented in the 1970s, so he didn't even know that you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
So
his mistake.
Plot twist. And then Buffy, what does she say to him? What does she say?
Well, one thing that she says.
There it
is, I may be dead, but I'm still pretty.
Oh, yes, but I meant you have fruit punch mouth.
Oh my God. Well, she has so many amazing lines just in this short amount of time.
Well, for me,
you have fruit punch mouth.
Yeah.
Which is, we've all been thinking it, and now, thank God, somebody's finally saying it.
A lot of you tweeted at me saying, Kristen, I really thought of you in this moment. Thank you. Thank you.
You have fruit punch mouth. I flunked the written when he says, you were meant to die. Yeah. It was written. She's like, I flunked the written. That's just some nice, healthy high school humor that I can really get behind.
Yep. And then she eyeballs as she's fighting him. She sees this like broken piece of something down through
naturally.
Oh, of course it has to be wood. Silly me. Through the glass panel that is on the top of the library, and down he fucking goes.
Oh man, down. If you're so into hell, go there. What a great What a great finish him move line.
Yeah, it was very nice. And I like his death. I like the usually when vampires are dusted, they kind of immediately dust.
Right, but because he is the oldest vampire on record.
Yes.
He's really got...
He has a skeleton.
It's durable.
Nobody has it. No, none of the other vamps had skeletons. He's the only one.
I mean...
Right, their bones turn to dust. His bones don't turn to dust.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And also, guys, who's cleaning up the high school? Is what I want. There's
peace, we're going to the prom.
There's like slime everywhere.
Dude.
Shattered floors and Cordelia's car is just in. Did they drive Cordelia's car out of the school to the prom?
We don't see it, but I assume so.
That's how they get there?
Anybody who, they're like, we've already survived this much. Surely we can get in a car that Cordelia is driving
right.
too. I just want to step back one moment. There's a moment where I think that the three-headed slime tentacle monster laughs.
No.
Yeah, I think there's a moment where it it's shaking up and down ha 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 ha, and there's kind of a raspy hissing.
Wow.
That sounds kind of like a laugh.
Oh my.
So feel free to go back and check that out.
All right.
And also just in general, I mean, it's scary and we don't want anybody to die, but that thing is just Muppety.
Yeah.
Especially the way it retracts when the master is killed. It's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
It's
very Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
It has that kind of a vibe to it.
Totally.
Yeah, and not to miss either in this moment that they're all gathering back in the library, we hear the theme song again. But it's this beautiful, slow, lyrical theme song. And this was another teary moment for me because there they are. I believe there they are, the Scoobies, as we go into season 2,
mm-hmm.
including Jenny Calendar and including Cordelia. They're all, and Angel is in the room, and you were there, and you were there.
The gang is all here.
The gang is all here. And then Buffy says, we saved the world. Now we party. And out they fucking go. And then there's this banter of I'm hungry, and they're laughing.
Yeah,
and of course you're hungry. You died and you saved the world, silly girl. It's just it's good. It's good.
Feels like home.
Yeah, wow, and we did it. We're at the end of season 1. And
wow.
I'm just gonna touch back to where I started. This is why we're doing this fucking podcast. This episode is so beautiful. This television series is so beautiful, and we are about to get into season 2. We cannot wait. Oh, man, if you haven't seen season 2 yet, I'm so excited for you. We get to meet new characters.
God.
Oh, there's so much to do.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet. We will be soon. This is the last episode of season 1. We will be back with season 2 episodes starting in January, but we will have a couple of other fun episodes in between season 1 and season 2. We're going to do a mailbag episode, and we're going to try to do a special episode where we talk about your favorite episode, or favorite moments rather, from season 1. So we asked last week if you're able to send us a voice recording of yourself talking to us, say your name and where you're from, and then tell us what your favorite moment of this season was and why. Try to keep it, to the 1 minute mark or so we can get in as many as possible. But if you're I don't want to make a voice memo, guys, just send us an email and we'll keep those emails for this separate episode. Your favorite episodes and our favorite, I keep saying that, your favorite moments and our favorite moments from season 1. And our email, in case you've missed it, is bufferingthevampireslayer@gmail.com.
Wow. Well, that's it for this episode, and that's it for this season. That is the end of season 1. Thanks so much for joining us this whole entire time. It's been our pleasure to party with you. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs, and when I'm not watching Buffy and making this podcast, I'm usually writing and recording songs. You can learn more about me at jennyowenyoungs.com/buffering. where I've curated a little playlist of songs that are not about Buffy that I've written. You can check them out. And you can also give me a shout on Twitter at Jenny Owen Youngs.
Everybody's like, why would we want to hear songs not about Buffy?
I know.
I am Kristen Russo, and you can find me over on Twitter at Kristen Noeline, KristinnNoeline. when I'm not talking about Buffy, and that's really just less and less of my life at this point, but when I'm not talking about Buffy, I work to bring advice, resources, and laughter to LGBTQ young people and their families over at everyoneisgay.com and mykidisgay.com. And we're going to do something special in this episode. Jenny and I have a handful of lyric sheets that are, I want to let you know, they are like these sheets that we wrote down the words for the first time writing the song. So
from our writing sessions.
From our writing sessions. So they're written in pencil, on like yellow paper. There's like stuff in the margins. It's that kind of a deal.
A lot of unused lines.
Yeah, I think they're really special and really fun. And we have at least 4 of them. I think we might have even more than that. And so what we're going to do is if anyone is able to do an end of year donation to the work over at Everyone is Gay and My Kid is Gay, we're going to pick, no matter what donation size you give, if you give $1, if you give $700, all the same chances of you getting picked. We will pick, 4 or more of those donors to get that, a copy of one of the lyric sheets. And you can go over and donate. It's a tax-deductible donation is the best way to do it, in my opinion. If you go on over to, we made a bit.ly for you. It's just bit.ly/EIG Buffy. So EIG for Everyone is Gay, Buffy.
All lowercase?
All lowercase, EIG Buffy. Or, you can just go to everyoneisgay.com, click on the donate link, and you'll see there's 3 options. Choose Fractured Atlas. That's how you can give tax deductibly. And we will pick some of you wonderful humans who support that work to get those fun lyric sheets. And I thank you in advance for your support.
Buffering the Vampire Slayer is on Twitter at BufferingCast and on Facebook at facebook.com/BufferingCast. And if you haven't gotten this message already, you can send us an email to bufferingthevampireslayer@gmail.com.
No, we hit the email address 3 times in this episode, I think. If you like what we do, and we hope that you do, you can go on over to iTunes and leave us a positive review. That is a very awesome way to support our work here. Another fun thing that you can do is you can go on over to our shop, which is bit.ly/shopbuffering. And over there, you can find some enamel pins designed by Kate Leth. Buffering the Vampire Slayer t-shirt designed by Kristine Thune. And that is just to remind you where we are going to put up the physical copy of Buffering the Vampire Slayer songs from season 1 for pre-order. It's going to be up starting today, and it's going to be up through December 18th. We have a limited amount of copies. So if you want that physical manifestation of the beauty we hath wrought in season 1.
Wow.
You can go on over and pre-order a copy. They should go out probably by the end of December. All right?
Yes. I think, should we say also that our New York show has sold out?
Yes. Oh, yes, it is. Which is bad news for some.
But great news for the indication it gives us that we should plan more Buffering the Vampire Slayer events.
Yes.
Which we will be doing in the new year.
We shall. So stay tuned. If you use social media, follow us on social media because we will be talking about other events and things that we're trying to plan, both for season 1 and moving into season 2. So thank you for selling us out like 3 weeks before the show.
It's so awesome.
So exciting. Thank you, New Yorkers. And for those of you who do have tickets, we are so excited to see you there. For those of you who don't fret. We will get a chance to share space with you, fangs with you, all that good stuff very, very soon. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us for this first season. It has been such a pleasure.
It really has.
Till next time.
Ow.
Well, I heard the words you said, but I can't make them make sense. I face nightmares every night, but now I wanna run instead from what will come, what will come. If our world belongs to them, what will come, what will come. Just keep fighting, just keep fighting. That's what I'm supposed to do. do. If I just keep fighting, just keep fighting, maybe I'll believe it too. When you sat there on the bed, looking scared, looking ahead, couldn't shake the things you'd seen, and it woke me when you said, what will come, what will come? If our world belongs to them, what will come, what will come? Just keep fighting, just keep fighting. That's what I'm supposed to do. If I just keep fighting, just keep fighting, I think that I'll believe it too. Fire rising in my bones, I can free us from his hold, from the fear that keeps us bound. I am standing now, I know what will come, what will come. If our world belongs to them, what will come, what will come? Just keep fighting, just keep fighting. That's what I'm supposed to do. If I just keep fighting, just keep fighting, know that I'll believe it too.
Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life.
Gosh, people will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Finding a new podcast to listen to is easy. Finding a good new podcast, that's a little tougher. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. If you like fascinating information you can use in your life from some of the top experts in the world, you're going to like Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and recently we've covered topics like the benefits of laughing, the science of dreaming, where your deep desires come from, even how to make the perfect burger. We produce 3 episodes a week, and each episode is packed with rock-solid intel that will make your life better. And we have a lot of fun doing it. Something You Should Know has been ranked on the Apple Podcast charts every day for over 7 years. A lot of people like this podcast, and you will too. Listen to Something You Should Know wherever you get your podcasts. Look for the bright yellow light bulb on the blue background. It's Something You Should Know.